And we'll call the meeting to order and welcome everybody to the December 5th meeting of the Community Redevelopment Agency. First order of business is a motion to approve the minutes if everybody's had an opportunity to review them. Is there?
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The minutes are adopted. Next is a status update on the downtown redevelopment area, and our business relations manager, Greg Pauly, will present. Good evening.
Good evening and happy holidays, everyone. Once again, Greg Pauly, Business Relations Manager. I have just a brief update for you tonight. There are a couple of items that may generate just a bit of discussion, so I'll move through this quickly, and then we'll have plenty of time at the end for a follow-up.
Good. We'll have a short break between this meeting and the council meeting, right?
Very good.
Good.
Okay. Just a quick snapshot of our upcoming meetings. As you know, tonight's meeting was originally scheduled for last month and got rescheduled till tonight. And then the other three cards on the screen show you the upcoming fiscal year 24 meetings, the next being, of course, on February 20th. I'd like to go through just a couple of the projects going on right now. The first one, to give you a status update, is the Overlook Oaks project. You may recall that this is a Habitat for Humanity project, which involves 4 single-family homes, all configured as 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a 1-car garage. In fact, the 4 homes are very similar to one another. They are currently, this photo was just taken the other day, so this is the status that they are currently in. They are on Overlook Drive, just north of Bush Boulevard, right behind the bank. You can see here that the exteriors are just about complete. The interior work is still going on. The interior walls are studded. However, the interior drywall and finishings have not yet been installed. So that is scheduled to take place over the next, we'll say, roughly 60 to 90 days, and hopefully have all 4 of those homes fully finished and fully landscaped within a 90-day time period. Next up, we're moving further south on Overlook. We're now on the south side of Bush Boulevard, down near Grove Hill. This lot sits right on the corner of Grove Hill and Overlook, and it is adjacent to the Overlook Park. You may recall that this is the site that was previously approved as a 4-unit multifamily concept. The developers here, Mr. Leeks and Mr. Thomas, have been before you on a few occasions to discuss this particular project. As it sits right now, the site plan as well as the civil plan set have been submitted and are currently in review with our Community Development Department. After that, we're moving over into the southeast quadrant. This is the Enigma Plaza. Enigma Plaza consists of approximately 36,000 square feet of retail and restaurant space at 8633 North 56th Street. The interior work is currently ongoing. However, the exterior work has been paused pending an updated site plan. There is a concern with a couple of the changes. They're relatively minor concerns. However, the city staff has requested that the developer provide an updated site plan before continuing any exterior development.
Is that, Greg, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Yes, sir.
Is that moving? Are you satisfied that this is actually moving and not stuck in the mud?
It is moving, however, it is very slow. I've corresponded with the developer and the engineer this week, yesterday and today, as a matter of fact. The engineer has assured the developer that all of the site plan amendments have been completed, and it's just a matter of now getting them submitted to our city staff in community development. There was a question as to whether staff would require paper copies or electronic submissions, and the engineer was referred over to Marissa over in community development to discuss that.
Thank you.
After that, we're moving slightly north, still within the southeast quadrant of the redevelopment area, to talk about a quick update on our electric vehicle charging site. As you know, this site is something that was fostered here from this council, actually previous council, summer before last, and we have secured a grant to complete this site, and we're now finally seeing the initial installation taking place. you'll see the graphics to the left and right side of the screen. Those are literally copied right out of the site plan, and the image in the center of the screen is what the site currently looks like. The initial utility equipment has been installed by Tampa Electric Company. It still needs one key piece of equipment. You'll see there is a empty concrete slab to the right foreground of that image. That is where the primary transformer will be installed, and it should be installed within the upcoming days. And once it's installed and prepared to be energized, then the site will be turned over to a electrical subcontractor who will then install the actual equipment, and they will then move forward with setting out, configuring the parking spaces.
Is that, I don't, I hate to keep interrupting you, but I'll forget. Is that, when that's all completed, is that infrastructure going to be screened somehow with landscaping or
Fencing or,
fencing or, well, fencing's not real attractive, but I mean, is
Yeah.
it somehow,
We'll have to work with them to do the landscaping. We are required to stay a certain distance back and away from, because they do have to be able to get into that equipment from all sides. So we can work with them on that. We can work with our own Public Works Grounds Department on that as well. That is obviously city property. So we can make adjustments as needed, as long as we stay back far enough. I think we have to stay, I want to say 48 inches away from the actual equipment. But we can certainly work on that.
yeah, there's not 48 inches between the first parking space. I mean, that just doesn't provide the visual structure, the visual that we're looking for in that area. I mean,
No, I understand. And I can speak to them as well. I don't know if painting is an option. Sometimes painting around the landscaping will help camouflage the visual appearance a bit, but I can speak to them about that. Excuse me. This is, again, an excerpt from the site plan. You may recall that this is currently configured as 6 traditional parking spaces, and this element out of the site plan shows you how those 6 spaces will be configured to accommodate a total of 5 EV charging sites. The 2 to the far right are powered by a DC fast charger, a level 3 charger. Again, that will traditionally charge most electric vehicles in under 30 minutes, in many cases 20 to 25 minutes. The 3 from the center all the way to the left are level 2 traditional chargers. These chargers take a bit longer. They are less expensive, but they do take longer to charge, and you're looking at a traditional charge of anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour on those chargers. You will notice that the space furthest to the left, and I'm saying left, that's actually west in the compass direction. Furthest to the west is an extra wide space, and it is adjacent a 5-foot access aisle to accommodate accessibility. Excuse me, I'm struggling with my voice tonight. The other note there at the bottom is, you may recall that the first agreement that was put into play on this was with Tampa Electric Company. The second agreement is currently under review with our deputy city attorney, and it is with the actual service provider that provides the software for the end user to use the site. Excuse me. Next up is an update on our pedestrian master plan. As you know, this is a project we've been working with Kimley Horn on, and they have, we have worked with them and partnered with them to set up a community engagement meeting this coming Saturday. It will be in the redevelopment area. I don't know if you can see it. It's a little small on the big screen. You might be able to see it better on your screen. If you see the little star upper half of the image towards the center, that's actually where the tents will be set up. And there'll be staff members there from the city. There will be consultants there from Kimley Horn with their displays. They're going to blow up the displays of the materials that you saw when they presented last. And we will have open Q&A with both us as well as them for anyone from the public that wishes to come in and get up to speed on the proposed improvements for that area. It's directly across from the south building at Waverly Terrace Apartments. And you see there that we're doing, talking about the proposed improvements, answer any questions, and they will also be collecting any feedback that the community contributes.
I have a question.
Oh, Councilmember Fernandez.
Besides, right at this moment, this meeting, how are we letting the public know that this is going on Saturday?
We have just recently been distributing a series of flyers and posters throughout various community facilities. I've been working with our marketing communications officer to promote it both in social as well as online website, and we'll continue to promote it right up until the moment of the event. I myself am going to do some walk and talks with some local business owners. The consultants at Kimley Horn have already reached out to the stakeholders that they included in their initial research and invited them as well. So we're using a multifaceted approach to disperse this information.
So, another question. As far as the stakeholders go, meaning the private ownership of this, some of this space, are we going to get feedback from this meeting and all the feedback at one time, or do we already have feedback from those owners that might have some information present at this meeting?
I think the answer to that question is yes and yes. I know that our consultants have collected feedback from some of the key, certainly the property owners and some of the key businesses in the area, but I think this particular meeting is an effort to even gain more.
Okay.
And next up is an update on the demolition efforts at 8447 North 56th Street. You will recall that this is the old Curry Bowl restaurant. And last month, staff met with the demolition contractor to review the scope and length of the work. From that, we learned that the site work itself will take approximately 1 week to complete. And as it stands right now, we're hoping to get it scheduled for the very end of December. So we're talking just between Christmas and New Year's during that week, if we can get everything lined up and in place at that point. Now, as recently as earlier this afternoon, we learned of the results of a asbestos inspection. The contractor hired a certified inspector to inspect the property, and that took place towards the end of last month, and we got the report back today. It did find levels greater than 1% in the roofing material. Anything greater than 1% does require certified abatement and mitigation steps for all demolition. What the contractor has recommended is a complete wet demolition process, which will minimize the particulate being launched into the air. And of course, it will have to be disposed of in a certified hazardous materials site certified for this type of material. This increased work does come with an increased cost of $14,900. And with that, I'm going to pause for just a moment. I'm going to pass the baton over to Mr. Bahia and let him address payment on this additional cost.
So, members of the board, so on the original acquisition of this contract.
Microphone.
It's on, sorry, I said close enough. On the original acquisition of the vendor for this contract, Mr. Polly reached out and tried to secure 4 quotes. The requirement's 3 if it's under $50,000. He actually worked to secure 4. 2 of the vendors that he approached actually referred to the company we ultimately hired. They said, no, you should go to this company. We can't do this work, or we don't have the availability. A third was non-responsive, and so we were left with 1 vendor, which we selected, which is Paw Demolition. That original contract came out to about around $48,000. There's some items that we took away, some items were added in, but it was around $48,000 at the end of the day. With this additional $14,900, it would trip the $50,000 threshold, which would require a competitive bid and coming back to the city council. As you noted, as you heard, Mr. Pauly said we'd like to get this work done by the end of the year, in the next couple of weeks if we could. And also, we did everything possible to find multiple vendors. We didn't have any luck. I don't think we'd have any more luck if we went out to bid this now. We've already issued a purchase order for this particular vendor who's already done some initial work, obviously, to get us the asbestos report, so there'd be that complexity of trying to pull that apart. So in light of all those factors, I talked to Mr. Pauly earlier this afternoon and Finance Director Ingram, and there is a provision in the city's purchasing policy that allows the city manager to use his or her discretion to, in situations where it would not be advantageous to the city, to bypass the bid process. I would like to use that in this case, but I'm doing it here publicly just to be transparent about it, and if you have any questions or differences about that, please let me know. Love to get a vote on that, just for the record, that says that the CRA board understands that and is comfortable with that decision if we could.
Personally, I don't have any qualms about it at all. I think it makes perfect sense. We need to take this building down, so. Councilmember Schisler.
I've had experience with asbestos in previous lifetimes, and we got to get it taken care of sooner or later. So let's go ahead and get it done, because it's not going to get any cheaper to take care of it.
You want to make a motion?
I'll move to approve the increased increased spending to mitigate the asbestos issue with the Curry Bowl restaurant demolition.
Second that.
Is there discussion on the motion?
Well, my only question would be, does that satisfy what you were asking with regard to not sending it out for competitive bid?
I think that would be fine. Reality, I have the discretion for the purchasing power to do it unilaterally. I was looking for just some understanding from the CRA board. And the fact that you actually talked about the added funding is perfect, because I wanted to touch upon that as well, that we do have flexibility in the CRA budget to accommodate this increase, but that motion, I think, covers that, so I'm comfortable with that.
Okay. All those in favor signify with aye. Aye. Opposed? No nays? There we go.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
And that actually does conclude my report for the night. So at this time, I'd like to invite any questions on anything involving in the CRA.
Councilmember Fernandez.
So with regard to the tax incremental funding, does that cover the entire CRA district, or is that limited to the primary parcels that we had a lot of focus on?
It actually covers the entire district.
Okay,
It's I'm trying to remember the exact acreage of the entire district right now off the top of my head. Even though we primarily focus on that southeast quadrant, because that's the properties that became in the city's inventory of ownership, the TIF actually is the whole district.
Okay, so the property with the townhomes, or the multi-unit homes and the Habitat for Humanity homes on Overlook, those properties, once they're onto the tax rolls, we will get the TIF funding from them.
Absolutely. Any increase in value over the base value, which was established back in 2000 or 2001, I believe, any increase in property value will go directly into the TIF.
Okay.
Other questions concerning the CRA? No. Thank you, Mr. Pauly.
Thank you, everyone.
Other business to come before this body? If not, we'll be adjourned and the city council will resume at 6 o'clock.